are you?
Good.
I got you here again.
You have.
Okay. So, tell me about you.
Hello. Well, hi everybody. As you have mentioned, this has all been about personal growth, and it is about property as well, but you do learn along the way that it's a whole bunch of things put together that make the transformation.
It does. That picture you've got there of your little girl, I think when I met you, she was 3.
Yes, I did start when she was 3. I was in a bit of a groundhog situation. I'd come out of divorce, and I do find, as everybody else has been mentioning, that when you hit a certain level, you do start to ask questions, and you go through that process of, what am I doing? Why am I here? What makes me happy? And throughout divorce, I was with a 3-year-old, and my weekly income equaled my rent each week, and I was going nowhere.
Yeah.
And I had to ask myself the question, what is it that makes me happy? Because you forget when you work, you don't have time to think. So I asked myself the question, and I remembered it was real estate. I love real estate, all parts of it. And I thought, okay, how can I make something from this? So I actually sat on the computer and I just wanted to dream. I was on realestate.com and I was just looking at pretty houses. I like pictures of pretty houses. And I saw this little button that said, I love real estate. And I thought, I don't usually click on ads when I'm jumping online. And I thought, I do love real estate. Doink! And I clicked it. And your face popped up, and I listened to your story, and I listened to it was perfectly what I needed to hear at that very moment. And I had no money to be able to afford the course, and plus, you just get stuck in that groundhog. And I thought, I'm doing it. Here's my credit card. I'm doing it. So I signed up and I joined up Platinum. Yeah, I started in 2015. And a lot of things happened in that journey, but yeah, that's how I came across you.
Because our stories, my story way back then and your story at that time, were very similar.
Yes.
We had little kids to support on our own, not a lot of money, working really hard and going, oh my God, what the hell am I going to do?
Yep.
And when you go through that kind of reset, it's a reset button, it really makes you go within and go, what do I want? And, for you to be able to act on that, courage to you. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
You forget. You easily get lost in that world of working 9 to 5 and paying bills.
You get lost in the reality of now.
Yep.
And don't allow yourself the time.
Yeah.
To put a peg in the sand, to have a dream and to go after it.
Yeah. Well,
I program that RAS system.
To get it, rebooted.
Yeah.
So this picture here is a pivotal moment for me. So once I had clicked that magical button and I'd signed up, and of course you just live and breathe Dimpner for a good solid couple of weeks. You'd listen to all the audios, everything that everyone's already mentioned. And I did the financial health check. So I figured, what have I got to offer? How am I going to be able to do property deals? I think you have these expectations when you join these groups that everybody's big property developers. And, how am I going to get to that level? Which is not the case. We're all just here just to create success and wealth in any way.
Yep.
So I did the financial health check and I tried to figure out how can I make this happen. I did have an investment property that I kind of hadn't thought about. I just thought it had to do what it's doing, it's negative geared and all that kind of stuff. So I decided to leave my house, my rental property in Brisbane, and I moved to the Sunshine Coast, and I refinanced, and I found out that there's equity that I could use and all that kind of stuff. And so this moment here was when I'd moved into my unit on the Sunshine Coast, and I gave myself time to think.
Yeah.
And I took a notepad and pen, actually took my coffee, I lived across the road, so I walked over my mug. And I'm laying on the beach and I thought, right, what is it that I want? What do I want out of this? And even though I'm sitting still in that very moment, my life had moved and changed so much just in that hour that I gave myself. Manifesting and all that I never actually really knew about that until I got into this world here.
Yeah.
So it's so powerful. And, the vision boards, even now to this day, I have vision boards where I'm like, tick, tick, got all that. What
it's
else
great
do
putting
I
those
want?
red ticks on, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's so powerful. And and you think to yourself when you sign up, it's all about property.
Well, it kind of is.
Well, it is. Don't worry, I made money on property as well. But you have to. I think I did platinum for 2 years, and my first year of platinum really was undoing. So you have to undo, reboot, all that kind of stuff. And
there was a lot of nurturing that needed to happen with you.
Yeah.
What you'd come from, there was a lot of broken edges that needed to be smoothed off.
Absolutely. Yep.
And I think that allowing yourself the time to do that when you've gone through something traumatic, you need that time. You need to heal. And, that was a massive growth year for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. My life has never been the
Confidence level.
same since.
Good.
Yep.
Okay, so yours is a story of development, because personal development, because you'd had experience in your career before. What did you do before?
I've had a couple of different jobs, still kind of related to property, and I didn't really realise how valuable they were to me and the path that I was about to embark on. And I sat with Dimpner figuring out how was it going to work, and you're like, all right, tell me a bit more about yourself. And I sat there and I explained the things that I had done in the past. And one of them is I'm an ex-real estate agent, so I'm a qualified real estate agent. I went from selling houses to then buying houses. So I don't know how many of you have heard of different charities where you buy the $10 ticket to win the prize home. Well, my job was I got given around about $1 million a month, and I got to drive all around the southeast, and my job was to look for the homes that you win. So I got to look at beautiful homes all the time. I did a lot of renovations on a lot of those homes. They look brand new.
So you coordinated all of those renovations?
Absolutely.
Which is massive experience, but you didn't even notice that was a skill.
I just thought it was just my job. I was just doing my thing. Yep. Didn't know how I could use that of value. And I actually thought everybody could do it.
I'm jumping out of my skin here and all of this, and you're going, oh, well, I did this.
I've done over 70 renovations.
I know.
And I bought a house every 30 days for 5 years and project coordinated 6 of them at a time to ensure that everyone got to win one at the same time.
Like, duh.
It's pretty cool. So here I am thinking I've got absolutely nothing. I was this quiet mouse in the background, like, oh, Dimpa, tell me what I need to do. And so I'm rattling off all these different things. And so I've transacted over $35 million in property. And my job not only was to buy the homes and to do the coordination of the renovations. So I can say I've done over 70 renovations, but I didn't lift a finger apart from doing this and this. So I had my A team, which you were happy to hear about.
Who thinks renovation's hard work?
It's just a phone call and a lot of keeping on top of things. But I also had to prepare the homes for it to look like a display home, to look like a beautiful home that you would want to win and spend money. So
because these homes were older homes that you renovated and brought them to what we see in the magazines and whatever.
It was a charity. The one that I worked for was Endeavour Foundation, and their budget wasn't as high as some of the other prize homes. So I had to turn normal suburban homes into wow homes, and my budget was really tight. So the renovations that I did along the way, I got to learn where you should spend money, where you don't need to. Really, when it comes to homes that you look at, and especially when they're presented for sale, it's all about how you feel in a space.
Right.
It's creating lifestyle. So I learned that every 30 days for 5 years, and I had to impress the nation. So I picked up some pretty cool skills along the way. But you said to me, so here I am sitting down with you going, what's my new strategy? And you just stared at me. I could feel you thinking. You're like, you're going to stand on stage and you're going to teach people what you know. And I'm pretty sure I went silent for a bit.
You did?
I think I went
You went
white. Because standing up here at that point was absolutely terrifying. And I thought, no way, what's the next strategy in my mind? But it's Dimpner, right? You can't say no. You cannot say no to Dimpner. So I'm like, okay, I'll do it. So then you asked me to go on stage, and what you did was you pretty much asked me to step up and to
I didn't ask, I told you.
You told me. It's probably more like it. And you made me realise that, especially because I had to create a presentation for it, I had to really think about the skills that I had,
Yeah.
and it made me realise what value
right.
I could offer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So in Platinum 2015, you did a presentation to the Platinums.
I did. So as I said before, I was a bit of a quiet mouse. I'd lost all my sparkles throughout divorce.
Yeah.
I'd completely lost it. I looked pretty bubbly there, but I was probably extremely nervous and all the adrenaline's pumping in the body. But you said, right, you're going to stand on stage. So I had about a month to prepare. And I lived and breathed that. It was absolutely horrifying, and I lost 5 kilos from it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to melt on stage. But I did it. I got up there, and it was for an hour and a half. And
Yeah.
I'd mentioned that to my mother at the time when I told her that what I had to do. She's like, that's the length of a movie. I'm like,
That wouldn't have helped.
that does not make it any better. No, not at all. So I got up there, and I actually could hear, you know, because I was platinum, you know. I was just one of you guys in the audience there. I was just another student, and I usually sat right up the back so no one could see me, you know. So here I am standing on stage, and I could tell that people were like, is that Mel? Like I had to put the jacket on, and, you know, I had to really step up. And the persona that I was before to the persona that I became when I was on stage changed everything.
In an hour and a half.
Yep.
Yep.
It absolutely changed everything. And throughout that month of preparing, I told myself, you know, I was trying to condition myself to how I could survive this.
Yeah.
And I told myself, if I just had one person, just one single person that could maybe take a note while I was explaining and teaching on stage, or maybe take a photo of the PowerPoint, then I'm winning. Just one person, that's all I needed.
Just help one person.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
As I was up there was photos going and people are writing notes, and I actually realised I
You
became
got validation.
I became a teacher in that moment.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
And you became yourself is what happened.
I think so.
Yeah. You got your sparkle back.
I got my sparkle back. You gave me that sparkle. Thank you. I'd lost it.
You
and
deserve it.
You gave it back to me. So you're like, that was great, Mel. Now I'm going to fly you all over Australia. Thanks. So it was compared to standing on stage in front of, you know, 500 odd people that you don't know, instead of just a beautiful group of platinums where they're all your buddies. That was a little bit different. But you know what? I had value. I had something to share, and I liked the mentality that I now was helping people. And, you know, you guys are all about property, and if I can give you some tips that it's just going to help you sell your property quicker or sell it for more, then that's win-win. You know, here we're sharing and helping.
That's right.
Yep.
So what developed from that? I mean, you went and did a deal with one of the Platinums.
I did do a deal with the Platinum. That's not this particular one. This deal here, well, actually, it's still a Platinum, but she was a student. The other one was a JV. So this one, I obviously had the skills in presenting homes for sale, but I didn't have a business or anything like that. And she said to me, she's like, Mel, I need your help. I have a client who has a house that's not selling. It's been on the market for 9 months, and it was in the middle of Brisbane. It was a beautiful big Queensland in a very prestigious suburb. Why was it not selling? So I thought maybe price or presentation. So they're like, we need you to come around and just give some advice. So I went around there, and the house was multicoloured. Like every single wall was a different colour. And I'm thinking to myself, well, that's probably number one why it's not selling. But as property people, we can see past that. You know, that's just paint. You know, a couple of grand and you're sorted. But obviously buyers don't see that. You know, they judge a property on how they feel in the space. So I gave them some advice. And my advice mostly was you needed to paint, and there was some renovation stuff that needed to happen. And then they wanted to stage it as well, but their budget was tight. And I said, I'd rather not stage it. You need to paint it. That's number one. And they were so impressed by the different things I mentioned. They're like, okay, you know what? Let's do it. Let's just do the whole lot and get this done. So 20 grand they spent, not on the staging. That was a bit of renovation and the staging as well. And it sold on the first open home, and it sold for $90,000 more than it was previously listed.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
So that helped boost the confidence. I'm like, wow, I've actually got real knowledge that's, you know, that's working. And it was the Platinums, it was the support of the whole I Love Real Estate community going, go on, Mel. Get out there. So that really helped shift things for me. So.
And that's another thing as well, because of that value. I think the Platinum Group will attest to this. There's a lot of cooperation in the Platinum Group. So I was a Platinum student at the same time as Mel was, and we had a unit that we were struggling with. There was no upside in doing a renovation, and we really needed help to move it on and still make some kind of profit out of it. And I asked Mel for her help, and she was really creative, and she taught me so much about styling, and everything she said really added value. We ended up doing not a renovation, but we did some styling, and because our budget was so tight on that project, we had to use some of the furniture that was already there, which she was really gracious about. And she then worked all around everything to make it look its best. We ended up getting $80,000 more than the exact same apartment on the opposite side of the building, which had not been styled, which was still in original condition like ours. And it was amazing. The two properties went under contract within 2 weeks, but mine got $80,000 more because of this expertise. So it's just amazing. I mean, Mel has been adding value to a lot of people in this community because of the skills that she had and because she had the confidence through Platinum to do so.
Yeah. And, it's all about creating lifestyle. You guys spend so much time and effort in creating property that, you want to have successful results on. And in the end, sometimes the budget gets tight, you're a bit exhausted, it's been going on for a while, and you just want to get it up online. But those photos that you put online, if you don't capture the buyer in those moments, you've lost it. So don't scrimp on a good photographer. It changes everything. And realistically, you're competing with house A, B, and C for the buyer. What's your point of difference? If your house is just a stock standard house that you just, you're doing these property deals, give it a point of difference. And in the end, it comes down to how people feel when they're in a space. And I think because I got to do a house every 30 days for 5 years,
Yeah.
I learnt how people are really, they're changed in an environment because you're selling lifestyle. In the end, you're selling lifestyle. You
realise next year when I move out of my house, you're coming in to style it when I turn it into my wedding centre.
Woohoo! I can't wait. Next project, I love it. Well, because of the communal support that I had, I had a lot of people coming up to me and say, hey, Mel, can you help me do this? Can you help me do that? And I thought to myself, wow, I need to start a business. So here I was not that long ago, quiet mouse in the corner, to now of a product of value that I could help people. So that's amazing. Yeah. Absolutely amazing. So started my business. It's now in my 4th year, just started my 4th year. I've hired staff, and I was just awarded Property Stylist of the Year for South East Queensland.
Woo-hoo!
Wow. Never saw that coming. Never saw that coming. So,
but look at your warehouse that you've got.
Yeah, so you can see there's my daughter. So, as a single parent, you have to turn your kids into a stylist as well. So there she is. So I actually, in that little tiny unit that I said I had on the Sunshine Coast, had this crappy little, garage downstairs with a tilt panel, and I had to put some furniture in there. And then I moved houses. My business got a little bit bigger, and it had a shed. So that bottom picture there had a shed. So that's me building my first shelf, which is pretty exciting. And then now I've got a warehouse. That's only about a fifth of the warehouse you can see, but I now have a massive big warehouse, and I'm actually probably going to do my next property deal on a commercial shed. Yeah.
Which it should be.
Yeah.
So the property deal that you did do is a JV with one of last year's finalists.
Yes, Jen. So I think when you're looking for a JV partner, it's really important to find out what you have to offer, and then what you're lacking, they have to offer that if you can. I'm not into numbers, and my JV partner, she loved crunching numbers. So I'm like, great, that's your job. She absolutely hated choosing anything to do with colour and styling. I'm like, great, that's my job. So I didn't have money to do the deal. So
Power.
So I decided, right, you're going to finance it, and I'm going to take care of everything else. So she financed it. She was married as well, so she had the double income, and we did this property deal. So we bought a suburban house that had enough enough of a backyard to be able to build a house in the backyard. So we did a renovation on the front house, and it had a tenant, lovely guy. He was like our watchdog. So I gave him a little bit of reduced rent for the process. And then we built a house in the backyard, so it was a self-assessed dual occupancy,
Good.
separate title, or strata title. So, we built a 4-bedroom home in a tiny backyard of a suburban property, and we sold that for, I got all the numbers that are missing.
Yeah,
but
they're not there now.
Yep. So we made 120,000 profit.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Very good.
So I made money without spending any money, which was pretty cool.
While we're fixing this up, I've got to tell you about Mel's joint venture partner, because she was a Platinum student as well. The way she actually afforded to join Platinum, she's one of these people, she's very single-minded, like, I'm going to do this.
Yep.
She makes it happen, right?
Yep.
She got her puppy pregnant. She got her dog pregnant. So the dog had 11 pups, and she sold them for $2,000 each, and that's how she financed Platinum.
They were expensive puppies. Knowing Jen, she probably bought that dog strategically.
I know,
because
she
it had expensive puppies. Well, my JV partner, she is exactly as Dimple just explained, and she bought that deal. She purchased that property before it had its first open home, because she nagged and whinged and got right in the agent's face and said, "I'm making an offer right now before your first open home." So we still needed to crunch the numbers, and that was in the clauses, of course. Yep.
Yeah. So,
So,
120 grand split, that's great.
Yep.
So your business, that's what you're doing now. You've been able to market yourself throughout Southeast Queensland, and it's running well.
Yep, business is good. So, I guess it's just continual expansion from that point.
Yeah.
I've started another business on the side now where I want to offer online workshops and training on teaching people how to do it themselves.
Oh my God, did I not say this how many years ago?
Right at the beginning, perhaps. So there's extra knowledge there that you guys will be able to access if you want to be able to learn the processes behind the scenes to get the better presentation for your property. So just Google Maluka Design, have a look for me. And life's going really good. All right, so we purchased for $329. That's the house.
Build time is 7 weeks.
Yeah, so the process took longer, but the build was 7 weeks. Unbelievable.
Wow.
And you know how to get your builder to do that? Do it right before the holidays at Christmas time.
And
He's
say you
like,
need it
I
by
want
Christmas.
it done, I want it dusted. So he built it in 7 weeks. So that's the front house that we renovated. If you just flick through to the next slide, on the left at the top there, that's what it looked like. Because I have learnt where you should and shouldn't spend money, I didn't touch the inside apart from paint. The inside, in a renovation, when you touch something, then all of a sudden everything else looks really old.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those houses, and I'm like, it's not in the budget for me to be doing kitchens and bathrooms, so just did some landscaping, and that's the house. So there's the backyard, and there's the house that I built.
Very good. So this is the transition for you. You started with $66,000 equity that you didn't even know you had.
Didn't know I had, yep.
You've you got equity in your acreage property now, with a big shed.
I now got to buy my own home and, supporting my daughter, and my mother that's my mother and my daughter. There's my daughter, I'm making her go on staging jobs with me to put her to work. And my mother has been my rock the whole time in the background. So,
and you build a business that has real value.
And I have, my business is absolutely going amazing. I've been afraid, like my self-value at the beginning, I was doing jobs for free. I couldn't even ask people for money. And now, not afraid to ask for money at all. It's just a business. But so personal growth, priceless. You can't put a price on that. But when you come to these kind of seminars and conferences, and you join groups with Dimpner and all of the coaches as well, you need to fix in here and in here to get the best results.
Absolutely.
Yep,
that's right.
Yep.
So, do it yourself. Look at you there, all dollied up in front of a place that you've done.
That actually is a snapshot for a video that I quickly whipped up because I have recently just applied for a Foxtel Lifestyle Channel co-host position. Watch this space. So there's a show coming out called Dream Home, and it's helping Australians find their dream home. And the experience I've had finding the prize homes right up their alley. I'm an ex-real estate agent, and because I now have more confidence, I totally could rock it on TV. It'd be fun.
You will rock it on TV.
Who knows?
When
Who
will
knows?
you know? When will you know?
They're probably going through all of the videos now, so stay tuned. But
Okay.
I'm actually not something else.
Look at you. You're gorgeous. You look great on TV.
Something I've learnt from this process is don't be attached to the outcome. You know, just go with the journey, go with the flow, and the more you find yourself following the stuff that feels right, the more of that stuff keeps coming.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
there's reasons for that.
Yeah. We're working
There's
in here.
science behind that.
Yeah.
And this was your first little entree on stage. Look at you there.
Looking all professional. You got to fake it until you make it. So I was on the inside. That first presentation I did, my jaw was doing this. I was so nervous. But, you know, here I am now, and we've talked about mindset and manifestation. Like, honestly, give yourself 5 minutes a day if you can, even if it's you're driving home from work, and as you've mentioned, just pull over somewhere in a nice shady street and take 5 minutes before you get home just to ask yourself, what is it that I want? Am I still on that same path? You know, take the time. It's so valuable. Learn to accept help. That's been a big one for me. I think from divorce and other people that have been in a similar situation, you take on the mentality that I got this. You know, I can do this.
You have to do everything on your own.
Yeah. And then when someone else comes along and says, you know what, we're all here for you, it's like, it's a bit odd. I don't need that. I've got this. But really, you actually need to allow help.
It takes a while to actually let someone in.
Yep. Borders.
Yeah.
And anything's possible. I mean, look where I am now. I could not predict this at all, ever.
I could have.
You could. You could see in me something that I could not. And you've absolutely transformed my world.
I am very proud of you,
Thank you.
Dal. Big round of applause for Mel.
Thank you.